KiaPC.com. Scroll down and click the Tiger logo.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. The SUV family has movement that inspires, and we invite you to test drive the new 2023 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. You can command the road in a sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Drive away today in a new 2023 Rio, Forte, K5, or Stinger, and discover the all-new Kia at Bill Bird Kia. 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. Peace of mind you can trust at your local community dealer, Bill Bird Kia.
Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, this is Tim.
Do y'all sell bait?
Yes, we seasonally stock live shrimp, live bull minnows, live sand fleas, live fiddler crabs, earthworms, night crawlers, crickets. We also stock frozen shrimp, sand fleas, mullets, squid, pre-rigged ballyhoo, bonita, stingray, cigar minnows, Boston mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and a few other miscellaneous baits. It's worth the drive to buy premium locally sourced bait from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay-down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
Barbaritos lets you say yes to fresh. If you don't know what to eat or where to get it, well, fret no more. Barbaritos is here to help with its healthy menu, offering 7 meals with less than 500 calories. Barbaritos has lots of healthy options made with farm fresh food. Your health and your family's health matters to us. Come eat healthy at Barbaritos, 23rd Street in the Stanford Station Shopping Center near Academy Sports. Barbaritos, food, community, people.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The 2023 Atlanta Braves are back, and with a loaded roster of young talent and some new faces in the A, it's going to be another wild season.
Riley hammers one, deep left field, bombs away!
Tonight, Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, and the Braves are back home at Truist Park to take on the AL East Baltimore Orioles in Atlanta.
Coverage starts tonight at 6 on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. ESPN, Northwest Florida.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DN Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida. Welcome to the house. It's time for the Afternoon Underdogs.
It's happening.
Wow.
It's on right now.
Opinionated and unfiltered. The hot takes, the rants, and the sports talk you crave.
Give it to me.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Northwest Florida? You are now tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida. It's on 104.3 right here in Panama City, 102.1 in Mariana, all the way up to Dothan, and on 101.9, that is Port St. Joe, the Forgotten Coast. ESPN Northwest Florida, and we are the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with a great cast of sports fanatics. We've got AG, that's Adam Goff, Caveman Rick, and we've got Bone Crusher back in the aquarium. Which we were talking about that yesterday, Amanda, and we had Jane. Yeah. You were hit me with a bunch of them yesterday, but we got to come up with a better name. So now it's not you're not
diorama. Don't we have an aquarium sponsor?
Gulf Coast Aquarium, absolutely.
There we go.
Great sponsor.
Yeah.
If you want to get an aquarium for your business or even just for your house, for your personal use, man, Gulf Coast Aquarium is a fantastic
I've been in there. I bought some products there, and actually, one of the reasons why they might be sponsoring is because I've talked to them about how great the radio station was
Commission
for
time,
us in our business.
There you go.
So seriously, I mean, that might be a good reason why, and if so, that's great, to know. But yeah, and I mean, since they do tanks, just calling that, we got, the station studio room name and different names. Just name the aquarium, the sound booth, whatever you want to call it. Maybe talk to them and
call it
name
the tank.
Yeah,
the tank. All right, we're gonna keep it rolling. This is the Afternoon Underdog Show. We'll be running from 4 to 6. Right after 6, it will be the Atlanta Braves, or right at 6. We'll get to the coverage there. Orioles at the Braves. That should be a very fun series. A little AL versus NL East action.
Teams.
Yeah. I mean, the Orioles are smashing the ball. We were talking about this before the show. The Orioles are just crushing the ball right now. And the Braves, what are they known for, and what have they been known for now the last 3 years?
Hitting home runs.
Hitting home runs. So it should be very interesting, especially with Max Fried going for the Bravos and pitching well. And I'll leave it at that for now. He's pitching well to this point, pitching great to this point in the season. And on the opposite side of him, Kramer, I believe, he's given up 7 big ones this year, or 7 long balls this year.
He's pitching well. He's 2-1 on the year, but his kryptonite is the home run ball, and that's what the Rays do best. So
it should be a great series, and we'll have that for you right here. 6:20.
A lot of discounted tires in Atlanta this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have all 3 games from tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. Sunday is going to be that Peacock game, and no one wants to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning and watch baseball, but you want to listen to it, man. You can even get yourself you take a nap at 9:20. Wake up at like 6, and then take your little 9:20 nap there. But no, Braves radio, we were talking about that yesterday as well. The Braves radio broadcast is absolutely phenomenal.
Joe
Simpson and Ben Ingram.
Yeah,
and
great.
then sometimes you'll
that's
have
got to be a lot
on there.
of kind of weird watching it that early in the morning.
Well, to me,
too.
listening to those guys, it's like listening to 2 of my buddies, like us sitting there talking. Whatever it is we're passionate about. So that's what I love about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Even as a Reds fan, I enjoy listening to the games.
And the insight that they come with is you're definitely professional, but also at the same time, it does feel like you're watching the game or listening to the game at a bar with the Braves broadcasters.
They're not homers, though, like some broadcasters you listen to. They're not that bad.
They whine a little bit about
But I mean, okay, that's their job a little bit, but they're not overly just overwhelming. I don't know if you're familiar with Jack Edwards, Boston Bruins commentator that does some hockey games. Now that guy is a homer right there. That's one guy I don't want to listen to, and I don't want to watch games because
you don't have to anymore. They're done.
No, I know, but I want to listen. Tim. I want to have even like it's like my home teams. I want to have a little bit of bias there. I don't want them just talking up the team being so great if they're not actually playing that well.
Yeah, I don't want it to
be real about it.
When you're not a national broadcast but a regional broadcast and you cover a specific team, I would like to. I'm okay with it, with them being a little bit more homerish or over the top for their team and not just right down the middle. I know just this last year, calling Mosley games, like I tried my hardest to be as right down the middle as I could. Yeah, impartial. Just because yes, I'm calling the Mosley football games, but also Monday through Friday, I'm doing the Afternoon Underdog Show and here at ESPN
Don't alienate anybody.
Well, yeah, exactly. All of these high schools are great. All of these athletes are amazing. So I don't want to, ever get into that conundrum. But, I'm sure that there's people out there who were listening to those games and be like, man, pull a little bit harder for my. Well, now, sometimes I'll say, though, during the game and you're calling the game, you can't help but just, especially when we're calling games and we're next to the coordinator room. So you got the OC and the DC up there. And when a play happens the way that they designed it and you see them celebrating, it's like you look through the windows at each other and just like, yes, like, way to go, coach, way to go.
Well, I grew up listening, as a Reds fan, I grew up listening to Marty Brennaman and Joe Nuxall.
Yeah.
Right, both of them Hall of Famers for broadcasting. But the thing that endeared most people, most Reds fans, and even baseball fans to a certain extent to Marty Brennaman was the fact that him being there so long, he was able to actually call out players and the organization itself and saying, hey, what are you doing? you didn't run out that ground ball. Like, and he would comment on it on air.
Fly ball to left field.
But I'm saying is like he would call that stuff out. And so as fans, he's basically speaking our language.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, there are times that, he would celebrate and have a great time and he would enjoy it and it was a lot of fun. But then there are times where, it's like, okay, there's runners on second and third and no out and the Reds didn't get a run. That can't happen. They have to fix this. And so like he's saying the same things that we're thinking, and most likely saying or screaming at the television.
More than likely screaming. And isn't that one of the best parts about sports, especially for the people out there who really watch the sports and take it all in, right? And they know what they're talking about, right? So you're sitting there, and let's say that you're watching with someone who's a little less inexperienced or just inexperienced in general, and maybe it's their first or second or third time watching, and they'll hear you say something, and then a split second or 2 seconds later, the commentator or broadcaster says the exact same thing.
Is there an echo in here?
Yeah, exactly. That type of thing. That's been happening my whole entire life. So,
or like, even when you see plays developing, I don't know if you guys have had this, like the deja vu kind of moment where you start seeing something and then right away, like I just know like in hockey, like, yep, that's going to be a goal. And then sure enough, like second and a half, 2 seconds later, the puck's in the back of the net, you know, and you could just, by the way things are happening that it's going to finish the right way.
This is going to sound absolutely crazy, but I do believe this to a slight percentage. One of the things that's helped me kind of see how things play out as well, and just be due to repetition. But I mean, sometimes when you're playing Madden, certain sports games, not all, but like in hockey, right? If a guy gets a certain angle on you, it's either going to be an incredible save or that's a goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or he just totally whiffs, or some stick breaks or, something unfortunate happens.
Yeah. So playing video games actually has helped me in the world of breaking things down and analyzing things as well. ESPN Northwest Florida presents the Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, the real fishing report with Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle and Tim Braddock. The fish are biting, and the most detailed fishing report on the Gulf is back for another season. We do this every Friday at 4:20. So call in with your fishing stories, questions, if you want some recipes from Tim, whatever. 850-215-6290.
Hey, real quick, I just wanted to mention, today, Cinco de Mayo, first off. So, be careful out there, guys.
And Bike Week.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that, too. A lot of people say, look twice, save a life. But then I got something to add to that. I did EMS for a little while. Do yourselves a favor to bikers and wear a helmet. I've seen a lot of wrecks, and just because it ain't your fault or whatever, you can still line up basically a vegetable. So, I know it don't look cool sometimes, but wear a damn helmet.
Oh, we had an accident last night, State Avenue, and the motorcyclist did pass away, I believe, on impact there, right off of State Avenue, and I believe it was 35th Court. So, yeah, absolutely.
But also, too, on a better note, too, I just want to congratulate Ryan with his show this week.
Yeah, 100%.
Day, Inside Drive, 11 to 1. So check that out when you guys got the time and you're in your cars or at your work and have the radio on. Great show. He actually talks a lot of hockey too, so if you're into that, good topic,
Hockey, golf. I mean, it's a fantastic show.
Sports gambling.
The opportunity to run the board for them this afternoon. So, yeah, a lot of fun. Ryan Mulvey, Jay Henley doing a great job with the Inside Drive. Coach James Hale show live from 7 to 9 Monday through Fridays. Another great show there as well. And it's it's starting to get ramped up, man. We've got this June and July, but even in July we start getting into those SEC meetings like what we have last year. Jimbo Fisher, Nick Saban, and that whole saga starting.
SEC, isn't Napier supposed to be in town this weekend, over at Boardwalk doing interviews or something, or maybe even today, if I'm not mistaken? Does anybody know anything about that?
It's
I
haven't heard that, but I also will not discredit that. So very interesting. I can hit the Google alert and see what we can find out about that. But how about last night, where we kind of recap the games from last night and the Florida Panthers, man. So the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in 6 games, and that's their first series win since 2006. And then they became, after that win, and then the Bruins going down was the big one, they were now, or after that first round, the Stanley Cup favorites by odds, right? And now they find, I'm just saying what Vegas was saying. I agree with you as well. Like, you haven't won a series since 2006, and now you're going to win the Stanley Cup? Exactly. I agree 1,000%. But how about the Florida Panthers last night, man? What did we see in Game 2 with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning? In the first game, Tampa Bay Lightning trounced them, right? It was like 7-3. And the following game, Toronto answered right back and won that game big, 7-2. And you almost saw shades of that in the first period last night when the Maple Leafs jumped out to that 2-0 lead, and then all of a sudden Bobrovsky just caught fire, and the Florida Panthers end up winning that game 3-2.
I will say this because I know about Sergei Bobrovsky. My Philadelphia Flyers, we drafted him. He started his career with us. We're still paying the guy because of the enormous contract that he's got, like a Barry Bonds kind of, or a Bobby Bonilla, type of a deal. So anyways, we're still paying the guy. And, I mean, good for him. He's been playing great, but I'll tell you guys, I'm sure Florida Panthers, fans know this too. The guy's very streaky. He's been playing very good right now, but you know what? They could even win this series, and then next series, he could just go out there and lay like 3 consecutive eggs, and they can get bounced in 4 games and get swept. So, don't hold your breath if you're a Florida Panthers fan, is all I'm saying.
As a hockey fan, who is it that you want to see of the teams that we have left here? I believe we have 8 total teams left. Who is it that you want to see in the Stanley Cup Finals?
I'd like to see a Canadian team, so I'd like to see Edmonton, actually.
Okay.
With Big David, even though he kind of goes away in the playoffs. Draisaitl, that guy's phenomenal. I mean, you get 4 goals the other night, like Pavelski can still lose.
Which one was more impressive to you quickly here, Pavelski's or Draisaitl?
Probably Pavelski because he's 38, and he came back from injury, Draisaitl, and he doesn't have a guy like McDavid feeding him the puck either.
Yes.
So that I think gives him a lot more props, but still, it's pretty impressive to get 4 goals in a playoff game. So Edmonton in the West, and in the East, I like Carolina. I'm a Rod Brindamore fan. I loved him when he played for the Philadelphia Flyers. Sad to see him win the Cup with Carolina, but he did it as a captain. He should have been the captain of the Flyers, I believe. We should have shipped off Eric Lindros and kept him, but, let's move on from that. But so that's my favorite for the East is Hurricanes. And overall, like I said, probably maybe a Canadian team since I don't really have a horse in a race. Sure, I'd like to see Rod Brindamore win as a coach. That'd be awesome, too.
Yeah.
But, Edmonton's been or not Edmonton, the whole country of Canada's been very thirsty for a while. It'd be nice maybe for them to get one.
I'm not a hockey guy, but I'd like to see some new blood in there, right? Like, Seattle or Vegas, some of these expansion teams.
They haven't paid their dues yet.
So what? Who cares?
Vegas was in the Stanley Cup their first year.
Right, but I'm just saying, have they won it?
No.
Right, so
I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
But
so
you got
Seattle or Vegas
like
or
Ottawa that haven't won yet.
Any team that would have won.
Seattle or Vegas or, and then give me the Devils.
Give you the Devils?
Let's let Ryan have some fun.
No, not on
That's not new blood. Though the Devils have won in this century.
No, you don't just start a show and then right then you win the Stanley Cup. No, he needs a year. Give him a year.
So there's a penance?
And then next year. No, I'm just kind of messing with Ryan right now if he's out there listening. No, but I mean, the Devils would be interesting. I want it to be Carolina and Florida in the East, and then I want to see Florida. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I would actually rather see Carolina, but my Stanley Cup final, not the dream Stanley Cup final, but would actually be Seattle and Florida. I think that would be fun. Carolina, I think, is the best team that's left in the East, but it doesn't matter what we think about you being the best team or not, because this is the Stanley Cup playoffs, man, and nothing goes the way that you ever think that it's going to go. And Dallas wins last night 4-2 over the Seattle Kraken to tie that series at 1 game apiece. The Florida Panthers now have a 2-game lead in that series against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And won both up in Toronto. Now they get to go home and they can sweep them. I mean, Toronto, they just probably have this, hangover, if you will, after winning that first round series. It's been so long. So I'm thinking they probably get bounced this year. Maybe next year they build off of this. They get past the first round fairly easy, and that's not such a big deal. And then they can maybe move on to the second or third, or move on to the third round after the second round after learning something this year.
Absolutely. And Ryan or someone with Bay Point Golf Club just commented on Facebook, says, come on. So thanks for listening there. But yeah, I mean, it would be interesting, and just think about the fun that Ryan would have if the New Jersey Devils did win the Stanley Cup, or even if they're playing, because I will say one thing, man, when he wears that Marty Brodeur jersey in here, that is a good look, no doubt about it. Let's go over to the NBA. The Golden State Warriors bounced back with a big one last night, 127-120 over the Lakers.
It wasn't even that close, to be honest.
No, I mean, the whole game, honestly, that was a game that I think the Warriors started pulling away, halfway, not even halfway, the start of the third quarter.
It was over.
Yeah, it was over, and that at that point in time, full attention was on hockey at that point in time for me, which is sad, because it's the late. What we got out of game one with the Lakers and the Warriors is like, man, if every game in this series goes like this could be one of the best series of all time. But it didn't work out like that last night. What do you attribute that to?
The coaching change. I mean, in terms of the adjustments, right? I mean, Anthony Davis, we saw him in game one be absolutely dominant. He has 1 day of rest, and now he has to come back and play again. He wasn't the same. The Warriors went small. They put Draymond Green on him. I think that helped him. It helped contain Anthony Davis to a certain extent offensively. Now, Davis still did what he did defensively, but, the big advantage that Golden State has had over this entire run has been the fact that they have been the fastest team on the floor, and they've been the team that can shoot the best, right? They're the best shooting team that we've seen in probably a long time. Now, are those players older than they were? Obviously, but they can still get it done. But that team speed, I don't think LA, who's a more veteran-laden team, a little older, can keep up with. So it's interesting to see the coaching adjustments. So now it's on Darvin Ham to make the next move when they're going back to LA.
Kyle just texted me, Kyle Wright, and says this is in reference to Ryan Mulvey doing the inside drive, and how I said no, he's got to wait a year to get in the cup with the Devils, and Kyle says David became the host and the Bolts went to 3 straight Stanley Cups, and that's false. I started in 2019, and so that was actually the year where we had just got swept by the Columbus.
So you
Blue
paid
Jackets.
your penance, now you
Exactly.
pay his.
Exactly. No, I'm all for every team's doing good, and it is wild though. When just like you look at some of the teams that we all follow and just how they outside of the Reds right now.
Right, but I mean, we've all had individual successes. Fans,
my Flyers haven't been playing great, but the Eagles are doing fantastic.
Braves win the World Series. Eagles went to the Super Bowl. Bengals went to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's been great.
Phillies lose the World Series. The Philadelphia Union lose their championship game. Who knows? The Sixers might lose their, Larry O'Brien this year. We'll see if we come in second, bridesmaids, all the Philadelphia teams.
Celtics went to the finals last year.
Celtics went to the finals, and you're not a big fan of Jason Tatum, and we're going to get in. Well, not that you're not a big fan, but
I'm a big fan, but he's not there
There's
yet.
some growth that you need to see from Jason Tatum, and we're going to dive into that today at 5:20. Coming up next, we're going to be getting into the Real Fishing Report with Tim Braddock. That's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have traffic jam and trivia today at 4:40, and then we'll get into we've got some retro cards in the building, some wax that Caveman Rick brought in, so we're going to do a little break to get you guys excited to go hang out at PCB Hobby. I think they've got a Magic the Gathering event tonight, or tournament type deal, and it's invite only, but I'm sure if you give a call up there to PCB Hobby,
Val
they will get you. Yeah, Val will get you in.
Tomorrow, the first Saturday, don't they have the special things going on, the comic books on Saturdays?
Yeah, it's free comic book day tomorrow, so make sure you get out there. I'm not really sure what Val's going to be running out there in terms of comic book deals or whatever, but I'm sure they'll probably have some kind of special cooked up.
All right, man. Devils and the Hurricanes tonight. Hurricanes are a -120 favorite. The Celtics at the 76ers. Sixers are a 2.5-point dog at the house, and that series is tied at 1. And then you have the Nuggets at the Suns. Suns in desperate need of a win tonight, and they are a 4.5-point favorite. The Denver Nuggets have a 2-0 lead in that series. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for Mike Greenberg.
People were talking to me at the draft like I had just had a baby. Everywhere I go, I'm walking the streets of Kansas City, and I got people stopping me. Hey, Greeny, congratulations. It took me a minute to realize they're referring to the Jets getting Rodgers. The reality is it couldn't be going better. It just couldn't. You couldn't ask him to be doing this better than he's doing it.
Greeny. Weekdays 2 to 4 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Friday afternoon weather forecast, partly to mostly sunny in the low 80s, light south winds. Water temperature in the Gulf is 83. Partly cloudy overnight in the mid 60s with light winds. Saturday is going to be partly to mostly sunny in the low 80s. Showers and thunderstorms expected Sunday into Monday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
2023 Atlanta Braves are back, and with a loaded roster of young talent and some new faces in the A, it's going to be another wild season.
Riley hammers one, deep left field, bombs away!
Tonight, Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, and the Braves are back home at Truist Park to take on the AL East Baltimore Orioles in Atlanta.
Coverage starts tonight at 6 on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. ESPN, Northwest Florida.
The Real Fishing Report. It's expert insider information from Tim at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. What's biting? What bait to use? Where to catch? And now, the Real Fishing Report. On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City, 102.1 in Mariana, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. And now it is time for everyone's favorite segment of the week, the Real Fishing Report with Mr. Tim Braddock.
What's going on, Mr. AG?
Not a lot, buddy. How we doing over there at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle?
We're catching a lot of fish right now. It's been a very good week, both from surf, from the pier. Mm-hmm. So was out this morning with a couple folks from Tennessee. They just wanted to go fishing off a dock, so I kind of showed them what to do. They're a little bit up there in years, mm-hmm. So I got to bait their hooks for them, and man, it was like they were a kid all over again, is what they said. So just old popping cork, live shrimp. We caught a few trout, caught a few reds. Caught a few little sand perch or silverlings, we call them over in the Chaltahatchee Bay, just to give them a pretty title. And so I've got some guests with me today.
Yeah, who do we got?
Yeah, I don't know. They were on the side of the road. They're in that slow down zone over there in Pier Park. So, no, all kidding aside, we've got Justin Driscoll and Mr. Will with us. So we're going to do a quick introduction. Justin, why don't you tell the folks who you are, where you're based out of, and then the name of your charter service as well.
Hey, everybody. Captain Justin Driscoll. My charter business is Florida Panhandle Charters. Normally run out of St. Andrews Marina over by Uncle Ernie's and Hunt's Oyster Bar. Mostly do inshore fishing, but we do a lot of gulf fishing and just whatever people want to catch and have a good time doing it.
So, Justin, real quick before we make an introduction of our other Are you swiping left and right over there, Will? Is that Tinder?
Yeah, we live in Southport, so any chance I get to go to Panama City, I kind of want to get a good feel for it.
You make it worthwhile.
That's right.
With a mustache like that, I'm sure you're busy, aren't you?
Tim, you know it only works. You know it only works if they actually match with him.
So this is how far out of touch I am. So
can you do that with fish too? Can you swipe right or swipe left and get him to bite the hook?
Yeah. It's all in how you wiggle it.
Yeah, okay.
And, if you don't have the wiggle right, there's no action's gonna happen.
I got you.
It's all about how you hold your tongue.
Yeah. And as a charter captain, I'm always trying to swipe right.
He's always wanting to hook up. So let's do this. Justin, how long have you been in Panama City?
Started coming down here about 8 years ago. I've been running charters for about 7. Kind of started out as more of a fun thing, and then it just kind of took off and moved down full time. And I guess, about 7 years now. So I'm enjoying it, man. It's a beautiful place to live. It's a beautiful office to have on a daily basis, and get to meet new people and help them make memories out there on the water. So you can't beat it.
Yeah, that's those sunrises are probably one of my favorite parts of fishing. The ride in, I love riding in from offshore, smoking a cigar on the way in. There's just something about that sets just right. But watching that sunrise in the morning, I was out with a neighbor of mine last year, and he said, Tim, he says, God don't have to do anything. And he's talking about that sunrise. And so we have another guest with us in here today. Justin, I'm going to let you do the introduction here for Mr. Will.
Well, considering how you picked me up off the side of the road, I kind of did the same thing with him. This is Captain Will Blizzard. Go ahead, Will.
Hello, everybody. I'm Captain Will Blizzard. I run Let's Go Fishing, PCB, out of St. Andrews Marina. And I run more of a near-shore fishing vessel. And I've been coming down here with Captain Justin for 4 years now, and I've been deck-ending for him, and got my captain's license 2 years ago, and decided that this year I was going to start running it full time. So I'm really excited to be here, and really thankful to be on the air talking about fishing.
So let's talk about the actual report. The big news of the week is the announcement of snapper season.
Hey, you think it took them long enough?
Well, it's just it's the build up.
Well,
anticipation.
Different business that I'm in, right? I'm in property management, and seeing as how everybody's slow down here right now in terms of number of rentals.
I would agree.
It's awesome that he made the call when he did, because if he had delayed it any further. Because what's going to happen is now that he's made the announcement on snapper season, you're going to see more and more people booking, especially because it's so long. So I'm not trying to cut your feet out from under you, but go ahead.
Oh no, and that's there's always kind of up and down reactions to the announcement of snapper season. Has been since I've been down here for 18 years. The year that we had a 3-day snapper season for the rec guys, that one was rough, and that was that was about 8-9 years ago. And it was a rough time for the snapper community. But this is the longest season that we've had since the state took over management. And that's important to note.
And 70 days?
70 total days. And so you've got to think we've got June the 16th through July 31st. And then in the fall, we have essentially weekends in October and November. And I can sit here and rattle all that off, but at the end of the day, fall snapper fishing to me is fantastic.
Oh, it's amazing.
And then you come home and college football is on, and you fry the fish that you caught that day, and there's nothing. I mean, it just makes for a great time, great day. So, Justin, I know as far as your charter services go, you guys run both inshore trips and you run nearshore/offshore trips. And so let's talk a little bit about specifically the types of fish that you're catching right now. We've highlighted, vermilion, beeliners, mingos, whatever you want to call them on the show. But let's talk a little bit about the types of fish that you're focusing on right now when you guys are fishing.
Well, Tim, it's kind of been one of our, I guess you would say, Spanish years. The sheep's head bite this spring so far, it's been fairly spotty, good days and bad. But the Spanish, man, when they came in about the last week of February, outside of a couple MIAs, throughout the spring, they've been pretty steady. And, for people that are coming down that hadn't fished a lot or may never fished before, it's, trolling for Spanish is pretty easy, to get the hang of. And, other than that, we've just been going to the Gulf whenever the wind allows us to, which is, I know for March, it was only a handful of days, for our boats, 22-foot center consoles. You get anything 15 plus, even from the north, and those closest, wrecks that are, going to produce, fish and a consistent bite are, minimum 3 miles at the 3 mile line. So, it's most of what I've been doing Spanish, as far as the trout and the redfish on structure, we've, done good with them when we've fished them. But I guess the Spanish trolling has been the generic go-to this year so far.
I think it's interesting to note too this happens every year. The seasons change, obviously, and the winds really play a factor into fishing, particularly offshore. It seems like maybe out of the past 8 weeks, I've been able to get two of those weeks. I've been able to give a positive report as far as the actual weekends. Now, there are times where maybe Thursday, where it may be good on Tuesday or it may be good on Thursday. And I look back at the notes from last year in April, and we called them Wednesday winds. Those high winds were coming in. It seemed like every single Wednesday, like clockwork. And they were staying here through Sunday, and then would die off a little bit on Monday, Tuesday, and it'd build right back up. So I do talk a little bit about how do you make the determination whether you're going to maybe stay inshore and troll for Spanish or, whether you're going to – and I think it's important to note what type of boat you fish out of, too, for those listening.
It's a 22-foot center console. You're like I said, anytime I see 15 or greater, even out of the north. Now you can get away with 10 to 15 if it's out of the north, or for Panama City Beach, a northeast wind. It's kind of it kind of serves as your traditional north wind because of the angle of the coast where we're at. So I would say, being a charter captain, you're expected to get out and catch fish on a daily basis. So you can't look at the wind and say, no, I can't go. You've got to find some fish somewhere, whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or a weekend. You've got to put the puzzle pieces together, sometimes running 3 trips in one day. If you get good wind, I know I did that a number of times already this year where I lose 2 trips in one day and piece them together with a couple other trips. And, that's 6 trips in 2 days. But, with the wind and the weather, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And it's more about the direction.
We call that getting in where you fit in.
That's right. That's right.
That's my whole goal.
And the thing to remember about being a charter captain is we're expected to produce every day.
You got to bat 1,000%.
Yes.
Fill the coolers.
Yeah. And me personally, I'm definitely not one of those captains that's going to take you out and just put on a good show and say, oh, well, sorry, guys, we didn't catch a fish. If I feel like that's any kind of a possibility, then I'm just not going. It's all, when it comes down to it, you look at the weather, you see what you can do, and you just got to do right by your customers and people that live in the area. They know, if the pass gets too rough, depending on, if you need to fish the pass, if the Spanish bite's not good, you got to go to the pass if you can't go to the Gulf. And if it's rough enough where the Spanish don't bite and the pass is too rough to fish, and you can't catch fish. And I just, I just don't feel like it's right to take people out in those weather conditions. And that's a call that you have to make as a captain, some days. And you disappoint people doing that, but, you can't control the weather. And that's something that we deal with on an everyday basis.
Yeah. You can't control the weather, or you can't necessarily control exactly when those fish bite.
Amen to that.
There's a science to most of that, but it's just that at best. And so, Will, let's talk a little bit about triggerfish. Have you seen good numbers of triggerfish in your fishing, or we talked about it on the report as an option to go catch, but we are not seeing a whole lot of triggerfish. So, give us a little bit of a field insight, if you would.
Yeah. So the triggerfish bite is pretty much nonstop, and for us being a stay water boat, the keeper size for a triggerfish is 15 inches, and finding a 15-inch triggerfish in state waters is like finding a 4-leaf clover. We catch them all the time, 12, 13, even 14, and even quite a few of them like 14 and 7/8. And as a charter captain, it is so hard to look at that and be like, I'm trying to think of ways I can stretch this thing out just to keep them in the to keep them in the box so these people can have some fish. But we're catching them, and sometimes they can be more of a pain than anything because they're so aggressive at the bait, and you're trying to get down to the wreck where all those beeliners and stuff are hanging out,
right?
And there's sometimes where you can't even get your bait down because they're swarming it, and by the time it gets down and they're getting ready for a bite, the triggerfish have already gotten all their bait. So they are definitely here, and they are fun to catch. And a cool thing about them is when we have dolphins around, the dolphins won't steal your triggerfish. So
no. He's not fooling with it.
Yeah, that's the thing is at least with the dolphins around, if you can catch triggerfish, and they can at least reel some because dolphins are.
Now your red snapper, just wait.
Yeah,
that's his candy. That's the dolphins' candy.
Yeah.
Well, and then those 15-inch triggerfish will start popping up as soon as the season hits.
And
right.
Captain Justin referred to having to cancel a trip as a disappointment or kind of a heartbreak to the customer. You want to know a real heartbreak, and that's watching a fish you've worked to bring up to the top, watching him having to go back. Why does he go to go back? He's in season, but he's 2 inches too short.
That's right.
So,
Tim, talk to us a little bit about this fishing forecast, brother.
Yeah. So the fishing forecast. Well, let's cover the weather real quick, and then I'll summarize the forecast for the weekend. The weather for the weekend is looking great, and tune into ESPN 104.3 to hear Tim Root. He'll give you the great up-to-date weather. And but I tell you this: if you've ever wanted a weekend to fish, this is the weekend to get out. And the weather, the temperature is supposed to be right. The winds are not looking too stout right now. It doesn't matter whether you want to surf fish, whether you want to fish inshore, whether you want to fish from shore. It's a great weekend to go fish. And so fishing this weekend will be great in any setting, regardless if you want to fish from inshore, offshore, or from shore. The weather will be great. The peak fishing times will be mid-afternoon through early evening. Be sure to come by Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle and pick up the best bait, whether live or frozen. Also, this weekend would be a great time to try and switch to an artificial bait, such as the Voodoo Weighted Shrimp or Head and Zara Spook, to land that bull red or trophy gator trout you've been trying to catch. The Real Local Fishing Report brought to you by Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, live on Fridays at 4:15 exclusively on ESPN 104.3, ESPN Northwest Florida.
There we go. And Justin, tell us how we can get a hold of you.
If you want to find me online, it's FloridaPanhandleCharters.com, or you're more than welcome to reach out directly. It's 850-814-1233.
And Will?
And y'all are more than welcome to reach me at my phone number, call or text anytime, 850-814-4271. We would love to have you and, hopefully be able to take you out and, give you a fishing trip that you'll, never forget. So,
hey, what's your Tinder handle?
That one is
there might be a few out there.
Captain Wild Willie.
There we go.
Captain Wild Willie.
Hey, Tim, tell us about Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where you're located and how we get a hold of you.
Yeah,
buddy.
we're located on the west end of Panama City Beach at 21301 Panama City Beach Parkway. And you can come by and see us. We're open 6 to 6, Monday through Saturday, and open 6 to 2 on Sundays.
Fantastic. Well, guys, we appreciate y'all coming in. And Tim, as always, this has been the Real Fishing Report right here on ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3. When we get back, it's time for a little traffic jam and trivia and some Braves updates.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Paul, I tell you, the way to improve some of these callers, quit giving out the number. Just give out alphabet. Make them figure the damn numbers out.
That's a really good idea. So you're saying, you think I'm making it too easy?
Absolutely. All you got to do is listen to the calls.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Friday afternoon weather forecast, partly to mostly sunny in the low 80s, light south winds. Water temperature in the Gulf is 83. Partly cloudy overnight in the mid 60s with light winds. Saturday is going to be partly to mostly sunny in the low 80s. Showers and thunderstorms expected Sunday into Monday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
In Panama City, we say shop local. And now you can at the Local Cafe. The Local Cafe is a new restaurant run by locals. Open 7 days a week, starting with breakfast at 7. Try the 2-2-2 for breakfast. 2 eggs, 2 pancakes, and 2 sausage patties. The best home cooking, like country fried steak, grilled pork chops, meatloaf, Salisbury steak, and many other delicious dishes. Plus the best homemade cakes and pies. The Local Cafe, 23rd Street, near Home Depot.
You know the break room for the best pool tables in Bay County. But did you know they now serve delicious food? Check out the break room's daily lunch and dinner specials like spaghetti and meatballs, meatloaf with mashed potatoes, air-fried chicken, and more. Plus the best burgers, hot dogs, and you gotta try the Sammy of the day. The break room on Panama City Beach at the corner of Joan Avenue and North Lagoon. For more information, check them out on Facebook.
Chef Ross here. We're open daily at 11 at the break room.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the tradition continues.
It is a walk-off home run for Sean Murphy into the Braves bullpen.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. Just had Captain Wild Willie, or what was it?
Yeah, Captain Wild Willie.
Captain Wild Willie, man. If you're out there in the tender world, you can go get you a captain, man.
I wonder if he spells that like Captain Crunch, CAP''N, Captain.
Yeah, there you go. And what a fun segment as always. If we had enough mics, I almost chimed in because before we started the show today, they were talking a little bit about shrimp, right? And because me and my brother were actually having this conversation the other night, why couldn't you would it be cheaper to go to the bait shop? And I don't think it would be, but to go to the bait shop and just get you some live shrimp and just cook them at the house. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, you can eat them, but it's not the same as getting...
You're right, it's fresh, it's wild.
No, but I'm saying, like
those are the same shrimp that are out here.
You're getting like a 2630, something like that, from your grocery store. It's essentially the same thing, only they're live. I mean, you can, but I mean, the thing is, like Tim at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, they're getting local shrimp too.
Yeah.
So, there's some Gulf shrimp that you can get mixed in there, but what I was referencing before we went on was, there was a boat captain that would go into St. Andrews and he would bring in those big giant honkers.
Yeah.
That you could get head on and everything else too. So
I would also say if you are going to go, using shrimp for bait and you're not going to use the live shrimp because like maybe, where you're at, it's going to be difficult to keep them live, keep them cool when it's hot out, with fresh water. Buy those live shrimp from somebody like Tim and then take them and throw them on ice, to humanely, I guess, kill them, if you will, euthanize them, and then cut those up and use that for your cut dead shrimp because it's a lot fresher, better scent, all that kind of stuff stays on the hook better. So that's just something that I've done before in the past.
And also what I've learned from you guys and from Tim Braddock and from this Real Fishing Report is to throw a little salt on your shrimp.
Yep.
And that'll
kind of
keep it on the hook
jerkifies
as
it,
well.
makes it tougher, harder for the fish to peck off.
I mean, I know that they say you learn something new every day, and that's absolutely true. But on this Real Fishing Report, I feel like I learned 2 or 3 things every single Friday in the world of fishing. You know what I mean?
Well, it's constantly evolving. Like the world of fishing, like I lure fish all the time, and that's pretty much all I do. And if you look at the way lures were made and the stuff they had back when I was a kid, like in the 80s, compared to the technology and the stuff now, it's just mind-blowing.
Well, let's play a little traffic jam and trivia here. We didn't get a winner, even though I knew a couple people knew the answer to this, but we did not get an official winner yesterday. Which position in Major League Baseball sports the highest percentage of high sock wearers? Which position in Major League Baseball sports the highest percentage of high sock wearers? Very interesting question.
Yesterday wasn't one answer given that was incorrect. Should we throw that out there?
Yeah, it was pitcher.
Pitcher, right? Yeah.
Pitcher. So pitcher is off the board. We're looking for the position in Major League Baseball that sports the highest percentage of high sock wearers. This is Talking Baseball put a stat out about this, so you can give us a call at 850-215-6290, and the winner is going to get $25 to the break room and a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. The special today at the break room is air fried chicken, and on the weekend you get dollar wings. The specials, like the air fried chicken today, are $12, and you also get your drink and a side. They're also doing quesadillas for Cinco de Mayo. You got cheese for $7, and beef, chicken, or pork quesadillas are $10. Let's get over to the phone line where we've got Lance who wants to play a little trivia with us. Lance, which position in Major League Baseball sports the highest percentage of high sock wearers?
Shortstop.
Oh, very close. In fact, 1 percentage point away from the actual correct answer. Lance, thanks so much for the call.
I mean, thanks.
All right, I believe that's Lance Griffin, man. So great stuff there. Hope your hand is getting, or your wrist hand, whatever it was, is getting better. Seen him at the ball fields the other night. So 850-215-6290. Shortstop and pitcher is off the board. Shortstop and pitcher is off the board. I've also heard some other guesses, but we're not going to relinquish those. 850-215-6290. The break room, the Braves update is brought to you by the break room. Last night got that 6-3 win. Dylan Dodd is the winning pitcher. 6 innings pitched last night, gave up 3 runs, had a strikeout and 3 walks to go along with that. Marcell Ozuna, I'll keep on referencing this because it's just kind of insane. You know, he was sub 100 with his batting average, and now 153 might be just a smidge higher than that. But he's got 5 home runs and 70 at-bats. He had another one last night. He had 2 in the game prior, 100%. Somewhat like the Atlanta Braves in general. We were talking about that. But 5 home runs and 70 at-bats. We've got Machado, who's had 4 home runs and 119 at-bats, and Carlos Correa has 4 home runs and 107 at-bats, and Christian Yelich 4 home runs with 114 at-bats. David O'Brien posted this on his Twitter today. But let's get over to Glenn, play a little trivia with him. Which position, Glenn, in Major League Baseball sports the highest percentage of high sock wearers?
First base.
First base, another great guess. I don't know where they land with the percentage, but that is not the correct answer that we're looking for.
Down to 6.
Yeah, we're down to 6 positions. Thanks so much for the call, Glenn.
All right, man, take care.
All right, you do the same.
DH, so there's actually 1 extra one.
I don't know if the DH was.
Call it a position player, though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're not specify, so I'm just saying now technically you do have 10.
You do. 850-215-6290. Tell me which position in Major League Baseball sports the highest percentage of high sock wearers. And this is for a great prize here. It's a $25 gift card to the break room. You also get a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, and we'll throw in an ESPN Northwest Florida t-shirt to go along with that.
As far as I know, there's no coaches that wear high socks, is there?
Oh, man. Did Ozzy wear them when he was with the White Sox?
I'm talking about currently. I'm talking about right now. Like currently,
currently.
I don't think so. Yeah.
That is one of my favorite parts of baseball. When I was growing up, I was always like, because, you know, in Little League, our coaches just wore blue jean shorts or whatever with the ball
shorts,
cap.
Like a gym teacher or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the fact, you know, it's really cool that the managers still wear the same uniform along with the rest of the team. I like that fact of baseball.
Especially when it's the old guys, when you saw like Tommy Lasorda still getting out there wearing it and stuff like that, Lou Piniella, NFL those type of dudes.
Because you even look at basketball, right? For a while, and you still have some coaches who sport the whole suit. Is there maybe more
Not
so in
many,
college
man.
basketball?
I mean, when they started that coaches versus cancer thing, and they all wore tennis shoes, and then when COVID happened, and everybody started wearing just track suits basically, and not really bummy type wear, but close enough. And I think they all started appreciating it, and they all started saying, you know what, if this is way we're going to roll, then that's how we're going to be. And they've kind of just run with it. Plus, you've got a lot of the old guard isn't there anymore in terms of the coaches. You know, with
looking
Roy
like Patrick
Williams
Riley or something like that.
Right. I mean, Coach just recently, Coach K, Roy Williams, they've gone by the wayside. So
yeah. So in other sports, it's kind of getting. I don't want to say less professional. That's not the word that I'm looking for.
Well, it
though.
is. If you look in the NFL, with Belichick and the cutoff sleeves hoodie,
and he's been doing that for how long?
He looks like a homeless guy, like a bum, like a hobo.
Well, give me that bum. You know what I mean? I don't care what you're dressing like necessarily. If you're winning the games that you got to win.
Would you respect an NFL coach if he came out there in pads and a helmet?
Oh, that might be the best. Or like a hockey coach, and they're all suited and booted over there in the NHL. But could you imagine them coming out in the goalie get up?
Well, they used to have player coaches for hockey back in the day, and in the minor leagues. I mean, you watch the movie Slapshot. Paul Newman, he plays Coach Reg Dunlop. He's the player coach of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
How funny would that be to see Belichick in a lineman get up or something?
Oh, man, dude. That would be great.
It might protect him like we seen, wasn't it too long ago in one of the, was it USFL?
It was Nick Saban.
No,
Nick
I was
Saban
talking
got
about,
hit?
it was Wade Phillips. He got trucked in one of the games a week or two ago, but he got right up and he was laughing and carrying on, having a great time like nothing happened to him.
Yeah. It still would be wild. What kind of a face mask would Bill Belichick wear?
The punter with the
I was thinking
the punter with the one bar.
One bar punter.
I was thinking like a T-bone, but maybe that would be more like a Rex Ryan type face mask, even though he's not currently
Tomlin
coaching
would have
now.
the black shades, I think.
Oh, got the visor,
blackout, like the Ricky Williams blackout.
Yeah, I think Tomlin would have the trip box, man. So
Rex
you'd have your
Ryan?
box right there, and then you've got the 2-bar underneath that. Yeah, the trip
He'd have
box.
that one real, I don't know, aggressive looking face mask that like a linebacker, I think.
Oh, who was it? Was it Justin Tuck
JPP
with the Giants?
Tuck had one.
I think it was Pierre Paul. It was that Giants.
I was thinking the same thing.
That Giants defensive line when they were beating the Patriots
almost looked like they were a transformer the way that they were kind of angled and stuff.
Because now you're seeing those face masks and they're going crazy. I would like to get into the locker room and see what they call the face masks. Because back in our day, we and I'm sure that in the generation prior, they didn't call the 2-bar face mask. You got the 2-bar face mask, but you have those vertical bars right around your eye line, your vision line, and we called that a box. But it would be interesting to hear. And then when you add the 3rd bar to that, it would be the triple box. So it would be interesting to see what the kids are calling them these days. Plus, you have all of those other ones like the JPPs and the Justin Tucks that are making
that would be
their way forward.
Cool segment for you and Kyle to do if you all do Mosley football next year.
Yeah,
go in the locker room before the game and do that. That would be awesome.
What do you call this? It's show and tell time. 850-215-6290. Which position in Major League Baseball sports the highest percentage of high sock wearers? This is for $25 to the break room, along with a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. Again, the Braves won last night behind the arm of Dylan Dodd, and Acuna got his 15th stolen base, and that leads the league now. And we're seeing, I don't want to put too much on this, but he's fully healthy again.
He's quick, man. And that bat is popping right now. I mean, for all the Braves fans out there that hated on this guy for the last 2 years, he's showing you something right now. And, as a Reds fan, he's fun to watch. He is 110% fun to watch because he is all go all the time. You don't want to talk about players that take plays off, or they don't give their effort, or they don't run all the way out on a ground ball or something. It's not Acuna. And, the game is better when guys like him are excelling.
Especially with all the hustle plays. And then I think back to 2 nights
Freddie
ago.
Freeman talking to him, too, a couple years ago about that stuff.
Yeah, with the hustle and out, just because you think it's a lazy fly ball or if it's a home run, get around the bases, man. But outside of that, the other night he was up to bat, last batter of the game, up against a position pitcher, and just to see even though he struck out because he threw an eephus pitcher, the pitcher the position player threw like an eephus pitch. It was like 63 miles an hour, then threw kind of another changeup, maybe had a little bit more speed to it, and then finished it off with like an 83 mile an hour fastball down in the zone, and Acuna was caught off guard, and he was just sitting there like smiling at the end of that. And that's one of those things, you know what I mean? He's having fun, and that is the way that the game should be played. Of course, we're going to have some of these players who take it very seriously, and that's just the player that they are. And look at where they made it to, Major League Baseball. But the other guys that, have fun with every single second of the game, man, it's really fun watching those guys play ball. So,
earlier, you mentioned Dylan Dodd in the win. So is he back to becoming the Dodd father? Still got a lot of work to go.
Well, let me tell you this. All right. So Brandon Shoemake has been brought up, right? So he's going to be making his Major League Baseball debut. He's going to be hitting in the 9 spot tonight playing shortstop. They also reinstated Raciel Iglesias from the IL. So with that move, Dylan Dodd has been optioned back down to Gwinnett. So, no, we can't. He's not the Dodd father yet. And honestly, I mean, we got the win. And that's great. But, only 1 strikeout and 3 walks. You need better numbers than that split right there to be called the Dodd father. And I think that one might be laid to rest in general unless he just has some surprise full season, because we can't have the Dodd father and the quad father, and Spencer Strider has cemented himself as the quad father. So I think that's where we stand there on that. Travis d'Arnaud in the world of injuries as well. He's starting his rehab assignment tonight with the Gwinnett Stripers. So, he's been dealing with that concussion, and that is Sean Murphy's been on fire.
I was going to say, are you really missing Travis d'Arnaud right now with the way Sean Murphy's playing?
But you talk about a guy that has fun when he plays. Last year, all the comedic stuff that he would do when he got hit by that like 70 mile an hour fastball right in the shoulder, and he falls down, you know what I mean, and then gets up and does some push-ups.
I'm not saying the team doesn't miss him. I'm saying as far as production.
Yeah, as far as production, but that's
Sean Murphy's absolutely. What a great trade.
Right, and when they traded and got Sean Murphy, regardless of what the fans thought and the Braves' minds, it was Sean Murphy's going to be your your everyday type catcher, and Travis d'Arnaud is going to be kind of backing him up. But the beauty is we're one of those teams where our catchers, especially when both are healthy, one's in the lineup playing catcher and the other's in the lineup playing designated hitter. So that's a beautiful problem to have. The Braves right now have a 6-game lead over the Mets and the Marlins. Obviously the Marlins sitting there at 16-16 isn't necessarily surprising. But the Mets being at 16-16, how you guys? What to make of that?
That team, that team's payroll is way too inflated to have a 500 record right now.
How do you think Steve Cohen is feeling about this? Obviously he's way
happy. We see Aaron Boone's already getting fired when 90% of his team is on the injured list right now.
Yeah.
Granted, has Boone won a title with the Yankees? No, and you got to win titles to stay there. But to sit there and say that this is the year that you're going to fire Aaron Boone when they're still above 500, they've got a big series coming up with the Rays this weekend, who's the best team in baseball, and you've got Aaron Judge, who is on the injured list now with a shoulder injury. Gleyber Torres is just now back, so he's been out the entire season. And they just keep Luis Severino just went down. I think he's done for the season. So, there's just so many injuries that the Yankees have been hit with, and to fire Boone. So, if you're looking at firing, help me out, Mets manager.
Buck Showalter.
Buck Showalter. Dude, this isn't on Buck Showalter.
From Definiac Springs, by the way.
Yeah. This is on these guys to perform. You're getting paid all of this money. Step up to the plate, literally, and do your job.
Yeah, and, Aaron Boone and the Yankees, they knew that they had some trouble going into this season with the injured list. Hey, it is almost time for hour number 2, and when we return, a little bit more baseball, and we're going to rip into some old wax baseball cards. We'll also play a little trivia when we return.
Only 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida could bring sports fans like you an app this powerful. The sports content you crave is always on. Live stream us everywhere you go. Now with upgraded programming and live game schedules, you'll always know when the Atlanta Braves and your favorite games are playing. Plus, interact with our local hosts in real time and so much more. The new app for the sports fanatic is available at the Apple Store and Google Play. From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Friday afternoon weather forecast, partly to mostly sunny in the low 80s, light south winds. Water temperature in the Gulf is 83. Partly cloudy overnight in the mid 60s with light winds. Saturday is going to be partly to mostly sunny in the low 80s. Showers and thunderstorms expected Sunday into Monday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Take your next adventure in an eco-friendly all-electric Kia EV6 that gives you the movement that inspires. You can live fully charged while saving now and down the road on maintenance and fuel costs. You have to drive it really to believe it. Schedule a test drive today and explore the electrified Kia vehicles at Bill Burr Kia. Now offering 3.9% APR for up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2023 Kia EV6. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology, but with performance that minimizes the impact of our environment. Bill Burr Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBurrKia.com. We make it easy to switch to EV ownership that gives you the peace of mind you can trust.
Offer from Kia Finance for the purchase of a new 2023 Kia EV6 with $1,837 per month for $1,000 finance for 60 months. Quality's limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Burr Kia warranty. See dealer for details. Offer for well-qualified buyers must take delivery from dealer stock through 5/1/23.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DN Mariana, WFLQ Port St. Joe, Howlett SA, ESPN Northwest Florida.
The 2023 Atlanta Braves are back, and with a loaded roster of young talent and some new faces in the A, it's going to be another wild season.
Riley hammers one, deep left field, bombs away!
Tonight, Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, and the Braves are back home at Truist Park to take on the AL East Baltimore Orioles in Atlanta.
Coverage starts tonight at 6 on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. ESPN, Northwest Florida.
He likes to idle his Kia while eating almonds and listening to Lincoln Park in the Walgreens parking lot.
White people love trail mix.
David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs.
Oh, they love it. Love it. Eat it every day.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
They love it.
Oh, I love it, man. Just got done with my first pack of trail mix on the day, and I changed up the routine a little bit, went from Walgreens and just headed right across the street, found myself in a CVS parking lot, and everything felt the same. ESPN Northwest Florida is what's coming through your speakers right now. We're taking the Inside Drive, the most exciting new show in Northwest Florida, broadcasting live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet, Buick GMC, and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey, weekdays from 11 until 1. Let's get over to Jackson, who's riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Jackson, you playing some trivia with us today?
Yes.
All right, Jackson. Which position in Major League Baseball sports the highest percentage of high sock wearers?
Isn't it center field?
Oh, I think we've already had. I'm going to give you a one
We didn't have
more.
center field
We haven't
today.
had a center
Nope,
fielder?
not
Okay,
today.
all right. We haven't had it. So, man, with that being said, thank you so much for the call, and try again tomorrow, or try again Monday. Thanks so much for the call, Jackson. All right, let's get on into
Young
some
audience, we love it.
Yeah, no doubt. We really appreciate the call. Let's get into some more Major League Baseball here before we dive into these cards. It's going to be fun, man. It's been a while since I've opened up a wax pack in general, and this just makes me want to finish the show up as soon as we can and head on down to PCB Hobby and open up some more.
There's a different smell with these older cars,
Especially the ones that have the gum in
than
them.
what you have today.
Yeah.
It's just there's a different feel to them. There's a grittiness to them, just because it's that old paper, that old cardboard, and then today's are a little bit more like the chromey, it's just a softer feel today than it was back in the day.
Oh, absolutely. And the cards, I mean, you can't take away from the nostalgia of what the old cards brought. But the cards today with all of the refractors and obsidian and gold and autograph this and jersey patch that, it's almost like, and I know that there is, but no two cards are the same these days.
Yeah. Right.
And they're beautiful.
It was a lot easier to tell, like when you had a nice card back in the day too, because there's so many different variations nowadays. There's a bazillion of them. You don't know which one. Hey, that might be really rare, really cool, and that one might not just be pretty run of the mill.
Which position in Major League Baseball sports the highest percentage of high sock wearers? 850-215-6290. Now, also last night, the Rays and the Pirates wrapped up their series, and within that, Zach Eflin, the pitcher, who, remind you guys, is a right-handed pitcher, but still, it's in the rule book. I'm not going to take the time to go look up the specific rule, even though it will only take like 5 seconds because everybody's been posting about it. But he was asked to either remove his wedding ring, which when he first, I think he got married in 2020, and at first he would either have it in his back pocket or he would put it on his chain, and which is 100% legal. Last night, the umpires asked him, which he's also been doing this all year, wearing the wedding ring underneath his glove, and it's just one of those
silicone,
right? One of those silicone rings. But he was asked to either remove the ring or be ejected. And again, he's been wearing this wedding ring throughout the year with different umpire crews, but this one had a problem with it. I do kind of wonder if the way that the series went, which there was some calls that the Pirates manager felt very questionable about, or felt they were questionable calls, and so I wonder if there was, you know what I mean? They just tried to tighten it up as much as they could to maybe make the Pirates manager a little
satiated.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic word.
You were saying the strike percentage was what, like 88%?
Of the game last night, it was 88%.
The umpiring, so I don't know, maybe they do something like this to cover up their insufficiencies in their, officiating of the ball game, perhaps?
Yeah, but the 88%, that number is at the end of the ball game, where he was asked to remove the ring was in the first inning.
I was thinking that was total for the whole game, though.
The 88% was. Yeah, that's total for the game, but what I'm saying is that at the one after the first inning is when they asked.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's indicative of like the overall.
So they were covering their ground for the future.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Hey, it's
this is baseball looking for problems where there isn't one, and just like with the substance checks and everything else last year when they made that rule. I mean, there's a video out there of Trevor Bauer, which you can say what you want about Trevor Bauer.
But kind of debunking or proving?
When he took the rosin and the sweat and he held his hand up and the ball stuck right into the palm of his hand.
Yeah.
He wasn't cupping or anything like that. His hand was as flat as this piece of paper right here, and the ball literally stuck to his hand. So it's, what are we really doing here? Are we actually trying to help the players, or are we trying to give the umpires a little bit more power because here shortly they're going to be obsolete?
Yeah.
I mean that's where we're headed to right now. With the pitch clock, you've got the minor leagues, testing out robot umpires and things like that. Is there going to be a way for an umpire to, officiate the game down the road? Absolutely. But right now, they're losing more and more power, and I don't think they like it, and I don't think they really care about.
Well, because they know what's 100%. coming. I think there are definitely some umpires who care about the 100%. But what gets more noted? Do you get congratulated? It's the same way with every other official and referee. We talk about this all the time. Do you get a big congratulations if MLB umpire scored, or the ump scorecards Twitter page posts the 100% or 99.5%? That was his accuracy last night. Do you have a whole bunch of people retweeting that and saying, "Great job, Blue, great job"? But if they got an 88% or they got an 85%,
we're talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But however, though, if you want accolades as well as admonishment, you need to make sure that these umpires are being held accountable by going up at the end of games and saying, okay, explain why you called the game the way you did. So if you want to have an umpire sit there and get attaboys and pats on the back, fine, that's great. But when it comes time for them to answer the real tough questions, they need to be there to do that too. So you can't have one without the other.
Same as consumerism, like you were asking about why they wouldn't, pat them on the back if they had a 99.5%, accuracy rate. like you buy something at the store and you're dissatisfied with it, you're going to write a bad review when you get bad service or you get a bad product. But how many times when you get really good service or the product, performs the way it's supposed to, are you on there too saying, hey, by the way, when I bought this product, it does everything it said it was supposed to do and more, because you're satisfied? No, you're expecting that and you just leave it at that.
And they met the expectation.
And when you're online shopping or whatever, what do you normally, what is your habit? Do you normally go through the bad reviews first or the good reviews? Or do you even look at the reviews when you're buying a product?
To see why somebody might not like it, to see if there's a red flag for me to stay away.
That's such a truth, though, man. Like, people who post reviews, 9 times out of 10, they're posting the negative, and they will never take the time to post the positive there. And that's just one. And not everyone does that,
It's human nature.
Of course, but it is human nature to notice the bad and feed off of the bad and dwell on the bad. And when the good is, it's a flash in the pan and on to the next bad. So yeah, man, just kind of a wild situation last night. But anyways, he removed the ring, and then it caused a wild controversy, or not a controversy, but a social media controversy, which gave us something to talk about. So Zach Eflin and the umpire crew, we appreciate you. And then also, how about with your guy Rob Manfred? I know he's one of your favorite commissioners of all time, Adam Goff. But no, what about him not letting Bryce Harper to use the cast? And he's only this will be his 3rd game back. I mean, where are we at with that? And you changed the bases. Why? Why did the bases become bigger?
8 in stolen bases.
Okay, yes, and also
to protect the hands of the players so they don't get spiked or stepped on.
Oh, why did they throw so many flags on roughing the passers, and I'm using air quotes here, that were terrible calls for player safety or whatever? So now you're in a position and you're singling out one player and not acknowledging, or at least going with he needs that cast for a little bit. And then also, what in the world is that cast doing for a guy who's just hitting the ball? Can you think of any pro that, and I don't mean professional, I mean like a pro here, like the opposite of a con, that helps Bryce Harper hit the ball better with a cast compared to a guy who doesn't have a cast?
The cast is on his right arm, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the arm he's using to lean out over the plate. We had this back in the day with Barry Bonds.
Protection.
With the elbow?
With the elbow pad. Barry Bonds would step out over the plate, and he'd have that elbow out there, and if he got hit, he got hit. So, because he didn't feel anything on it.
Right.
So I can see it from that perspective, but at the same time, I'm like you. If the guy needs it to get on the field and play ball, okay, he is one of the faces of baseball.
Exactly.
Baseball has to have those guys out there. The Trouts, the Otanis, the Bryce Harpers, the Wander Francos, who we're going to talk about here in just a second. Those guys have to be out there on the field doing what they're getting paid to do and be the spokesman, if you will, of baseball. And so if this allows Harper to do it, back off, man.
And he's coming back phenomenally quick from this surgery that he's had. So, you would think you'd want to have him out there, promote the fact that these guys can go out and have these surgeries and these injuries and hopefully come back and play meaningful baseball shortly thereafter. So all you're doing, is impeding his progress.
Yeah, and it all comes down to the pitch clock. He's not going to get special, because the Phillies did request from Rob Manfred that he could have extra time to put it on. So I think that's where the actual problem is there. But as far as you leaning over the plate, there's a big difference. Barry Bonds is wearing that for, we can call it protection or whatever, but he's protecting a part of his body that is not broken or hasn't just been through surgery. Do you think Bryce Harper's going to lean over the plate with a freshly
100%?
Exactly. You know what I mean? He's not. It's just something to keep him in better shape and also give him confidence while he's up to bat. Because could you imagine having a freshly surgically repaired elbow or UCL, and you're just kind of at any given moment you can get hit with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball? So that's just wild, man. Let's get into these cards here. Caveman Rick, explain what we've got here.
All right, so I was sitting in my closet earlier today, and we were talking, or I was just thinking about what we're going to do here on the show, and I came across these wax packs I got, and so there's just some Topps Stadium Club baseball cards. They're from '93, so it's the 92 players, 92 statistics. This is back when these companies were coming out with all these jinky and kind of gimmicky gimmicky ways to try to, sell cards. This is back, where, Todd, if you listen on Mondays from Panama City Beach Hobby, PCB Hobby, will talk about how the cards from like the late 80s and into the 90s aren't quite as valuable because there's tons and tons of these cards out there. So even if you get like a really nice rookie card from some of the big time players, like in here might be like a Manny Ramirez or something like that. I'm sorry, not Manny Ramirez. I think Pedro Martinez. I'm sorry, thinking of the wrong guy. Might only still be worth like a $30 or $40 card, where like some of the cards coming out today for the same person might be a couple $100 card. So, but just something cool. I thought maybe we can do a little reminiscent 30-year-old cards and see what we get. Maybe we get something cool to look at.
Sounds good. So
each grab one, and then I'll take whatever's left since I got them at the house too. I got some more, and then we'll just open them up and see what's up.
Dave, which one you want, buddy? Left or right?
Give me right. And just real quick here while we were on that, kind of back to the Zach Eflin here. James Fife just sent me the rule, which is 6.02C7. May not attach anything to either hand, any finger, or either wrist, and I get all of that, and that's why I say I understand the umpires doing that, but at the same time, if that's going to be like that, then maybe every umpire crew needs to go ahead and enforce that rule, not just. But if it's under your glove, I don't see how that's going to help at all. And I don't know if this is for competitive gain or because in Little League you couldn't wear a bright sleeve, or if there's something distracting or anything like that. I'm sure that could be something. But James, appreciate the text. Now let's dig into these. Now, for what year is this? 93. The first thing that comes to mind not even comes to mind, but the first thing I think when I'm ripping this open here, and we're doing this very delicately, you know what I mean? I like that. But these are for 93. These are pretty good looking, ain't they?
Yeah, and these are picture
I see a
cards.
Bravo over there.
Yep. Got Javi Lopez over here.
Let's
got
go.
A Big Herd over here. Members' Choice. Members' Choice is parallel.
All right, well, you just go through them first here, then don't just read them all off, because we'll kind of keep this quick here so that the people can still be entertained. I'm having a hard time getting them off without ripping them up. I'll go through them first here. So we got Brian Taylor out of with the New York Yankees. This is a very nice card.
Brian Taylor, quick fact on Brian Taylor.
All right.
He was the #1 prospect in Chipper Jones' class. He was supposed to be the next big thing, and this bombed.
Mike Fetters with the Milwaukee Brewers. Terry Mulholland. Now, I remember him. I remember
was
him.
It Phillies Mulholland right there?
Yeah, Phillies Mulholland, and then a Colorado Rockies former Phillies manager here, Joe Girardi.
Right on.
So there you go. That's a good one for Caveman Rick there. Got a Alice.
No, these are yours. Keep them. Whatever you guys
Ellis
get, man.
Burks here. We've got Willie Wilson. We're just trying to pull some fire here. Emmanuel Lee from the Texas Rangers. And bada bing, bada boom, Chipper Jones, ladies and gentlemen. A little Chipper Jones action. That is always fun to pull a chipper. Randy Bush. That's just a great baseball name, man, especially if he ever got into the tendencies of playing with the Bush. Oh, look at this, y'all. Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes' dad.
There you go.
On the baseball cards. This is cool right here, man. Having some Patrick Mahomes action. We got a little Kevin Stalker. And then finally, last but not least here, Doug Descenzo. So there you go, man. That's a pretty good pull there from a 1993. Go ahead, Caveman Rick.
All right, so we already talked about having Javi Lopez. Got a Bravo there for you. Got a red here for AG Willie Green. Mm-hmm. So there you go. We got Blue Jay Dave Stewart. A's Henry Mercedes. Got the Orioles Alan Mills. Got another Reds Kevin Mitchell. Here you go, AG. Got a Philly, Milt Thompson. Remember him? Great guy. He was pretty good for a little while back then. Rene Ochoa of the St. Louis Cardinals. Got Jody Reed of the Royals. Got Billy Ripken of the Rangers. Russ Springer of the Angels. Sorry, looking back some of these old logos. Tom Bernansky of the Brewers.
Tom Bernansky, the film guy, right?
Yep. No, that's Tom Emansky.
Oh, is it Tom Emansky?
Tom Emansky with an E. And then
lost.
Spike Owen of the New York Yankees. I'll trade you Javi Lopez for the Terry Pendleton there, Dave.
No, it was not a Terry Pendleton. It was a Chipper Jones.
No. I'm saying, like, give you Javi Lopez and you trade me for the Terry Pendleton you got.
Yeah.
Braves for a Philly.
Oh, it was Terry Mulholland that I got.
Oh, Mulholland. I'm sorry.
All right.
Bad.
Yeah, cool. Love trading right here live on the air.
Earlier, my bad.
All right, AG, what you got, man? We got 3 minutes left in this segment.
Bigger hits would be Harold Reynolds, Dave Winfield, the Frank Thomas Big Hurt. It's a member's choice, slow parallel, and Dante Bichette.
Dante
There you go,
Bichette,
Bo Bichette's
man.
dad.
Good
We got
stuff.
some daddies. A lot of nepotism in sports nowadays.
All right, man. We're gonna dive into the Kentucky Derby. And AG, where are you from?
Louisville.
So he's got a good handle on all of that, man. And the Inside Drive, too, as well. Go back and listen to their segment. I believe it was at 11:40, so an hour and 40 minutes into their show today. They had a deep dive into the Kentucky Derby as well. We're going to do our best to bring you the best that we can. And also, if we can find some time, a little Wander Franco. And what is the... All right, so if anyone on Twitter, in the Twitterverse, or if you watched ESPN the other night, I'm sure it was one of the top plays, the Wander Franco play, where he grabs the ball, he gets the ball, scoops it up, and then kind of tosses it up to himself,
like floats it
in
to
the
himself.
air. Yeah, floats it to himself, and still gets the guy out. And I want to know your guys' perspective on that. Do you have an issue with that? We can dive deeper into it, but do you have an issue with the player kind of throwing the ball up and, in a sense, showboating? I do. While defensively.
First, Wander Franco, just real quick, I told you guys off air, I'm a bit of a dope for his whole first season. I thought his name was Juan, Juan, DeFranco, D-E, Franco, F-R-A-N-C-O, because I'm thinking, who the hell named their kid Wander? But his name is Wander Franco, so yeah, I'm a dope. So, but I do have a problem with it. It's, you're taking a chance, an opportunity of what if you float that ball up and you bobble it and you mess up the play. Now there's an error and there's a guy on base, or a potential run can score, what have you. So I do have a problem with them because you're out there showboating, playing around, and the only thing that can happen really is something negative, other than you getting some highlight reel.
I don't have a problem with it because my thing is if batters can do it.
I don't want to get too deep into this because I wanted to save the discussion.
No, go ahead. I don't have a problem with it. We can talk about it after this, but I don't have a problem with it.
I love it, man. We're also going to find out cool things that any fan who's going to the Great American Ballpark should check out from Adam Goff. Also just pulled a Gary Sheffield. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 Panama City, 102.1 in Mariana, and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll be right back talking Kentucky Derby. Go get it!
ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
Hi, this is David from the Afternoon Underdogs. Join me, Drew, Amanda, Kyle, Caveman Rick, AG, and a cast of sports fanatics every Wednesday at Dave & Buster's.
While we are broadcasting the entire show live on location, enjoy half-price games, half-price cocktails, plus win Dave & Buster's game cards, and just for stopping by, free ESPN Northwest Florida swag.
See you Wednesday at Dave & Buster's.
Friday afternoon weather forecast, partly to mostly sunny in the low 80s, light south winds. Water temperature in the Gulf is 83. Partly cloudy overnight in the mid 60s with light winds. Saturday is going to be partly to mostly sunny in the low 80s. Showers and thunderstorms expected Sunday into Monday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
At Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, you can find all the necessary items for an unforgettable fishing experience. From pin rods and reels to the best hand-tied rigs in Florida, we have it all. With the help of our friendly and knowledgeable staff, you can be sure that you have the right gear to make that big catch. Come experience a great local bait and tackle shop located directly off 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach, located just 5 miles west of Pier Park.
Here at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, we want to help you celebrate Mom this month. From mother's rings with her children's birthstones to unique one-of-a-kind pieces just like her. This month is meant to celebrate Mom. From our large selection of beautiful stackable bands to simple, elegant diamond necklaces that will bring a sparkle to her eye. This Mother's Day, show Mom how much you love her with a beautiful piece of jewelry that's as unique as she is. From Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Questionable calls all over the NFL this year.
On the field.
Quantify to put a value on momentum. You can't do that.
And in your radio.
Hashtag NFL Rick.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida. It's on 104.3 in Panama City, 102.1 in Marietta, and 101.9 in Port St. Joe, the Forgotten Coast. Still looking for a winner for our trivia to win $25 to the break room right here on Panama City Beach in the Old Vic Sports Bar location. Plenty of pool tables, but also great food provided, or prepared rather, by Chef Ross. And today the special is air fried chicken, and they also have some Cinco de Mayo specials going. But which position in Major League Baseball sports the highest percentage of high sock wearers? 850-215-6290. We've talked about the inside drive. You guys all know, if you're listening right now, how great the Afternoon Underdogs are. Well, let's tell them about another great, fantastic local show that we have on our air here, Caveman Rick.
Yeah, no doubt, Dave. Set your alarm clocks to wake up with the Coach James Hale Show. It's weekday mornings from 7 to 9, in-depth local and college sports from expert insiders with a dash of controversy. So call in at 850-215-6290, especially if you want to talk about Alabama. They do have an Alabama updated AM, but that's basically the whole show. And then you'll also follow up with interviews of different local coaches every morning at 7:15. So just check them out.
Absolutely, man. Great stuff there. The Coach James Hale Show, the Inside Drive, and the Afternoon Underdogs, all right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Quick reminder, the Orioles and the Braves going tonight at 6:20. Coverage starts right after the Afternoon Underdogs at 6 o'clock. Yankee John is headed up to the Great American Ballpark. He's going to be watching the Yankees and the Reds. What are some things to do from the Reds fan perspective, or some must-see, some must-dos at the Great American Ballpark?
Well, there's a bar.
Just don't go. I'll give it to you. No.
Yeah. There's a great bar right across the street called Holy Grail. Really, really cool place. They got good food, good drink specials. It's a really kind of a great spot for a lot of fans to go and hang out before and after the game, similar to the Battery in Atlanta or St. Louis. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on down there.
Should he bring a brown paper bag with a couple holes cut in it?
No, not at all. And then at the game, I mean, obviously there's Skyline Chili, which is Cincinnati chili. Then there's another pizza company up there called La Rosa's. And what a lot of people do is they call it a Sky Rosa, where they put the chili stuff in the pizza and in the dog in the pizza, and they use the pizza slice as the bun, if you will.
So I've heard about this from somewhere else other than you.
So it's called a Sky
before.
Rosa. It's probably Kyle, right?
Yeah, maybe so.
And so they use that and they eat that all together, which, although this year Skyline Chili has brought out an actual nacho using their chili, which I'm intrigued about. So make sure you check that out. There's not a bad seat in that ballpark. If you want to know what the best seats are, hit me up on Facebook. I can tell you the exact section and seat numbers. It's where I sit every time. So
let's do this. Yankee John, tell me where you're sitting at, and we'll have AG rate your seats. How good are the seats that Yankee John's sitting in? And also, Caveman Rick earlier had brought up Billy Napier, who's going to be here, and that's going to be Monday at the boardwalk, on the boardwalk, or at the Boardwalk Beach Resort. So Monday at 5. And thanks to Ryan Mulvey for relaying that information to me about an hour ago. Right after
John, he's going because obviously it's cheaper to watch games probably over there at the Reds ballpark than it would be to go to New York and buy Yankee price tickets.
Oh yeah.
So and it's closer too, so it's probably more affordable all the way around.
Oh well, this is what he said when we started the show today. He said it is incredibly hard to go see my Yankees at a decent price. Trying to go to Yankees at Reds in Cincinnati is price gouging. He says both teams suck. No way a decent seat should be so pricey. So, but that is, I mean, that's one of those things. It doesn't matter what the record is, what the win-loss is of the New York Yankees. When the New York Yankees are in town, the prices go up.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
I mean, back when the Reds were good in like 2010 to 2012, I was going quite a bit, and I would get first row on the outfield, left field, and it was $25 for a seat. Now, granted, that's 10 years ago, but there's still great seats available. They do a 4 for $44, all that kind of good stuff. So.
Oh, I'm going to assume here, and you know what they say about assume, but we've got Wright State Chris on the line.
Yeah.
Ah, good guess there. Wright State Chris, what's going on, my friend?
If you would have spelled that with a K, we would have known, and not a C.
I'm not trying to spell everything out. It was right so with a W. No, I'm just kidding.
You're right.
Go ahead. Tell us about Great American Ballpark, buddy.
All right. Well, AG didn't go into too much, but I prefer to park on the Kentucky side.
Yeah, walk across the bridge.
Yep, Newport's got an aquarium. They've got a bunch of bars. They got a Hofbräu house over there that actually still open as opposed to closing down.
Mm-hmm.
And you get Sudsy over there. There's a people bridge that you can go across. You lose some of that a little bit, but it's also a great spot to take in the fireworks once the game's over as well. Once you're walking back to your vehicle, and it's really cool. Get to see a lot of stuff that's going on in the river, the Ohio River, which is it's awesome to go over, but I prefer to park on the Kentucky side, and then at night you get to see the beautiful Cincinnati skyline.
You know what a pet peeve of mine is, right, State Chris, is when you go to a ball game, and yes, I know that they've paid for the fireworks, they're gonna shoot them off, but when your team loses, and you're the home team, and you're shooting off fireworks afterwards. It's just like, I wish we weren't doing this. I remember the first time I went to a Biloxi Shuckers game, and they were doing that, and they lost. It was a great game, but then the fireworks are shooting off, and I'm just like,
isn't that the hat you're wearing right now?
Yeah, exactly. Got the Biloxi Shuckers on. Anyways, that's just a random pet peeve of mine, right, State Chris?
I think, Dave, how old were you when you went to that game?
Biloxi? It wasn't that long ago, 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's more for the kids.
Yeah, you're right about that, 100%. But I can still be pet peeved by it or irked by it.
Yeah. But no, I've been in Great American Ballpark a bunch. I was actually at, when they were, remember when, what was it? It was Riverfront, and then it went from Riverfront to, was it? What was it?
Field.
Yeah, I was there, and I saw Sammy Sosa hit one of his bombs during that season. Actually, I was there with my 14-year-old team for a Cincinnati tournament. But yeah, it was. I've been to that stadium a lot. It's really cool. As you said, there's not a bad seat in the house. Somebody may someday hit the Toyota Tacoma out in center field and get a free truck.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Did any of you watch Panthers Leafs last night?
Yeah, we talked about it when we opened up today, but man, and Caveman Rick had a great point. Sergei Bobrovsky is streaky, but last night was one of those streaks that you want him to be on. Very impressive for the Leafs to jump out to a 2-0 lead, and then the Panthers on the road just stymie them and take the 3-2 win. And there was a lot of pressure from the Leafs down the stretch the last 5 minutes of that third period.
Yeah, it was crazy. Bobrovsky showed up big, they play off Bob, but in the good way, because they also, had the negative moniker on him as well. But, if you go back to that Tampa Bay series last year, he's the only reason why, Tampa, that the Panthers were in that, just for the fact that Vazzy had a crazy series. But Bob didn't let in a lot of goals last year. Bob's been great. And I think that the fact that
Alex Lyon, he was another Philadelphia Flyer prospect that we dumped along with Bobrovsky, and I'm like, I'm sure we're kicking ourselves for getting rid of both those guys right now.
Well, look at Bennett. Look at Bennett and Tkachuk. Floundering with the Flames. Yeah, they made it to the second round last year, but floundering with the Flames. Hockey's one of those things. You got to be in the right situation. If you're not in the right situation, you're not gonna flourish. It's just not gonna happen. So, but did you watch? My favorite thing last night was Bennett cross-check Bunting in the back of the head, which I don't condone.
Karma.
But then Bunting was trying to get back up, and Bennett was upset with the officials, and he cross-checked him in the back and threw him back down to the ground. I love playoff hockey.
I wasn't watching that. Did he get called for that? Did they call a penalty?
No, they only called him for the cross-check to the face. They didn't call him for the cross-check to the back.
So that's cool. So you got away with one. So I would figure they probably maybe didn't call him on the actual first one, but then the second one they'll probably definitely get the call. So
no, he was even looking at the ref upset, and they didn't call the second one, which the Leafs fans are just jumping all over. The Leafs fans think that the league's rigged against them, even though they're the number one market in all in hockey. So I don't know what to tell them. So.
Absolutely. Hey, Rice State Chris, we're going to dive into the Kentucky Derby, man. Thanks so much for the call.
Yep. Thanks. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great weekend.
Oh, absolutely, man. Love the conversation. All right, Kentucky Derby 2023. It was last year that I wagered on Rich Strike. That's what it was. It was actually last year. And so got Rich Strike at, what was it, man? It was pretty far off. So he was a long shot there. But what are some long shots that you like, or who do you like tomorrow in the fastest 2 minutes in sports?
Well, Churchill Downs. In my hometown, Louisville, Kentucky. The Kentucky Derby, it's a bucket list item, I think, for everybody. Everybody should at least go there once. Whether you go to the infield, whether you sit in the stands, or you go to Millionaires Row, however you want to partake.
Millionaires Row tickets.
Do it. I mean, it's phenomenal. This race is interesting because each day leading up to it, since the post positions were announced on Tuesday, we've had numerous scratches. We've had controversy leading up to this with horses being euthanized left and right, seemingly. So it's kind of putting a black eye on the race right now from certain groups of people out there. But it's still one of the most wonderful things.
Tasty animals?
Yeah. So it is still a wonderful event. It's such a great event for anybody to go to. And that's the thing, is like anybody can enjoy it, whether you're knowledgeable or not. For me, I'm looking at a couple of horses. I mean, the morning line favorite. Where did he go?
the morning line favorite?
The morning line favorite is going to be Forte. Todd Pletcher's the trainer there. He won the Florida Derby, so that's going to be your morning line favorite. Right now he's at the 7-2. I'm not sure what he's at currently since we've been on the air. I'm looking at the number 2 horse, which is Verifying. He was sired by Justify, which was the Triple Crown runner in 2018. The horse has done really, really well, finishing second. It's coming out of the 2 slot of the post position, which is a little tough, particularly if there's bad weather. But looking at the forecast for Louisville on Saturday, it's looking like it's going to be mid-70s and not a drop. So the track should be fast. You should see a lot of horses getting out early. You're going to have horses that are setting the pace, if you will. Like Rich Strike was a fast horse who they didn't think could finish.
Right.
Would fade late. Ended up turning that into a Kentucky Derby victory.
Yes, sir.
Huge long shot.
A David victory. Let's go.
I like looking at horses that aren't necessarily a favorite, but they're kind of in that middle pack. They're not a long shot, but they're not an overwhelming favorite. So for me, I'm looking at a few horses. Verifying, Confidence Game, who's ridden by Keith DeSormo. That's another big horse right there. Both of them are 20-1, so there's good return. If those horses come in. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this. I love betting trifectas. Obviously, if I don't, mention who I'm betting through.
Yeah.
But there's a couple different options out there. There's, you can bet a win, you can bet a place, you can bet a show, or you can bet an exacta, which is 2 horses, or you can bet a trifecta, which is 3 horses.
Explain win, place, show real quick.
Win is first place, place is second place, third is show.
Yeah, I'm doing this for the listeners.
Yeah. No, and if you do an exacta, you're picking win and place. If you do a trifecta, you're betting on who's coming first, second, third.
Yeah.
You can also box those for double the amount of the bet. So if you bet $2, it's going to be $12 to box them. So on a trifecta.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I like to do. Is I like to do a trifecta box. It's a $12 bet, but the more horses you have in there that have higher odds, the better your return is.
It's like a parlay.
100%.
What is the what slot is the most advantageous?
5 is the slot that you've seen the most Derby winners out of. This is the 149th running. There've been 10 Derby winners win out of the 5th spot.
Is one on the post, or is it the
one
higher?
Is up against the rail, right? So they can go out to 22. I believe we're down to 18 this year in the Derby. So you're not going to have this huge mass that we've been seeing in the last.
And there's also
years.
a forecast of rain, I believe.
No,
right?
It's dry. It's
dry.
There's rain later on in the night.
I was hearing that yesterday
on Saturday, but during the race at what?
Well, not during, but during the day beforehand, I heard there might.
No, it's supposed to be dry. So track is going to be fast. You're going to see a lot of fast horses out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is called the greatest 2 minutes in sports. But when you're there at the track watching it, it feels like a half hour.
Yeah, and
it really does.
So in the 5 slot is Tappet Trice, who's got the money line odds of 5-1. What are you thinking about that horse? Because on the Inside Drive, they were talking a lot about Tappet Trice.
Yeah, it's a great horse. Right now, it's second. It's second only to Forte, another Todd Pletcher horse. It was first in the Bluegrass Stakes by a neck. It's a 6-1 right now. I would expect that horse to be bet down to probably 3-1 to 4-1 by tomorrow. So if you're going to bet, now's the time to do it when the odds are a little higher, just because you get a better return. I always like to kind of wait, especially since the last couple of days, like I said, we've had several scratches.
Yeah.
So if there's another scratch, then you're going to see the lines move even more so. But Tappet Trice is another good horse. Look out for Reincarnate. It's another one coming out of the 7 hole right there. It's a 20-1, and then if you're looking for an actual real long shot, like a Rich Strike, that 50-1.
No, Rich Strike was 80-1.
Right, I'm saying that 50-1, 70-1.
$2 went a long way in that general direction.
You're going to be looking at a horse that I like is going to be. What is it? Which one is it? The Jace's Road. It's a horse that has been there. It's shown up in the Louisiana Derby. It's going to be a horse that is kind of in that middle pack, so it's not on the outside looking in. You're going to see it probably jump up a little bit in this race, and it's just whether or not that horse can hold.
I don't know.
So you actually go
I'm
ahead
just saying,
quickly.
kind of relevant though. It's just like usually the names. I usually check out the names, and the names aren't that great this year. I don't think. There's not like a whole like an abundance of great names.
Yeah, and I love that take, because I was going to ask him. I'm like, so you're actually sitting here at who the trainer and the jockey is and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And for me, it's who's the longest odds and who's got the best name.
Who's got the coolest name. That's what
exactly.
I like,
and I'll work my way through that. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to be talking some Bozeman Bucks baseball with head coach Jeff Patton.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Afternoon Underdogs.
I want to go back to, I can't remember who said it, but he was kind of high on the Pirates going into the season. That was me. Remember I was saying
You like what they're doing down there?
Well, no, it was the mixture of youth with veterans.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Friday afternoon weather forecast, partly to mostly sunny in the low 80s, light south winds. Water temperature in the Gulf is 83. Partly cloudy overnight in the mid 60s with light winds. Saturday is going to be partly to mostly sunny in the low 80s. Showers and thunderstorms expected Sunday into Monday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Game days are always better at Dave & Buster's. That's because more TV inches, more food and drinks, more space, and more fun make the game we all know and love more special. Nothing beats seeing your favorite team take the field on the two 12-foot big screens or 26 75-inch TVs. Throw in the arcade experience and you've got a winning atmosphere that no other sports bar can deliver. Follow the fun at Dave & Buster's Panama City Beach on Facebook and Instagram. Eat, drink, play, and watch sports at Dave & Buster's.
Mid-South Lumber, where they treat you like family. Locally owned and serving the residents of Bay County for over 45 years. Visit their feed store at the Youngstown location for all of your livestock feed, plumbing, electrical, lawn, and garden needs. They also carry local Chautauqua wines, baby chicks, and a full line of poultry supplies to get your chicks started off right. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City.
The 2023 Atlanta Braves are back, and with a loaded roster of young talent and some new faces in the A, it's going to be another wild season.
Riley hammers one, deep left field, bombs away!
Tonight, Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, and the Braves are back home at Truist Park to take on the AL East Baltimore Orioles in Atlanta.
Coverage starts tonight at 6 on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast. ESPN, Northwest Florida.
It moves fast. The High School Spotlight. Weekdays at 5:40.
Let's do it.
Sponsored by Barbaritos. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Barbaritos, food, community, people. Visit Barbaritos on 23rd Street. Tell them that the Underdogs sent you. This is ESPN Northwest Florida on 104.3 in Panama City, 102.1 in Marianna, all the way to Dothan, and 101.9, the Forgotten Coast, Port St. Joe. You're now riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is our local high school sports spotlight, and we've got the head coach of Bozeman Buck Baseball on with us, Coach Jeff Patton. Hey, Coach, big win last night versus Franklin County. Got the 4-3 victory. What was your message to the players in the middle of the 6th inning last night?
Well, we were just kind of, while the rally was happening, we were just going to try not to get in our own way and just kind of let the boys play. But leading up to it, we'd had some struggles there. We were shut out for the first 5 innings and really didn't have a lot going. So we were just talking about just kind of staying with it, keep doing what we do, and eventually we'll catch a break. And we did. We got a couple of base runners there, and Larry Street got a big double, and then Lane Hathaway hit a double, and we tied it up and found a way to walk it off and win it in the 7th. But no, we just try to stay the course, try to keep the kids in the moment. They get down and then they start to, morale can tend to get low, but these guys hung in there pretty good, and we've rallied late quite a bit this year, so that's kind of been our MO. And
you've been coaching for a while now, and the world that we live in is now, more instant gratification, and the attention spans are smaller, or so they say, all of that good stuff. Have you noticed with, your teams along the way, it's harder to kind of stay that course and keep your head in the game?
I guess I think kids today don't handle failure as well as maybe kids previously.
Mm-hmm.
These kids do, I think in this social media age, and, I think there's a lot of things given to kids these days that maybe weren't years ago where you had to earn stuff. So, we try to do the best we can in our program to have these kids earning stuff and be responsible for things. But, these guys, it's something we preach. There's a lot of pressure. These guys work hard. We're a year-round program. So, June 1st last year is kind of when we started this mission with this group of kids. And, we knew we were in the playoffs no matter what happened last night. But, these guys wanted to win that district championship. We didn't win it last year and made it to the state championship game, but these guys wanted that, and we got down early. In Franklin County, they got good pitching, and they got 3 runs on the board pretty early, and it didn't look good for us. It really didn't, but they did. They stayed the course. We just needed one good thing to happen for us, and when it did, we just kind of sparked. And I don't know how many runs we might have scored in the bottom of the 7th, depending on if we had more to score, but we were starting to get hot there at the end.
Absolutely, Coach. And I also wanted to ask you, what does a late comeback and walk-off do for your team's confidence moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it just lets these guys know that the game's not over. No matter what if adversity we face early in the game, we're going to have chances to win late. But the biggest thing we talk about is, when you're in the bottom of the 7th in high school baseball, man, it's a lot harder to get those outs than they are in the top of the 7th for whatever reason. Just I don't know if it just is. The pressure's on. It's the bottom of the 7th, and it was a tie game, and we just hung in there. But that's the mindset of these guys. It's kind of we expect to win. We've won a lot. Not to not tune our horn or brag or anything like that. We just have, and winning is something that can get contagious. So we've had a lot of successful programs, and these guys, we're young, we're an inexperienced group, but these guys want to make their mark. They wanted to hold the rope for the playoff streak and the trying to get a district championship, and they're just trying to put their own stamp on this season.
Hey, Coach, we appreciate you coming on. So what's next for your Bozeman Bucks?
All right, well, we got the region semifinal. We're the 1 seed in the region, so we're going to host. So as long as we stay alive in the 2 games in the region, we'll host. So Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, we're going to play Franklin County again. They ended up being the 4 seed, so Franklin County's going to come to Bozeman, 7 o'clock Central Time on Wednesday night, and we're going to do it all over again.
All right, great stuff, Coach. Thanks for giving us some of your time again. I know you said that you don't like to toot your own horn just a few moments ago, or your team's horn, but brag on some of your players. Let us know, who had a great night last night, helped you guys come back and get that victory.
Yeah, Peyton Gay, he's our quarterback of the football team also. He's our 3-hitter, and he got there was 2 outs in first and second. He hit a ball that it was kind of a dead air night, and when he hit it, we thought it was gone. but ended up hitting the base of the fence in left center field, but plenty far enough to score the guy from second base. So he came up clutch for us, and then we were down 3-0, and Larry Street, he's a junior. He also finished the game, pitched the last 3 innings for us, and we were down 3-0 with guys on first and second. He had a big RBI double. And then Lane Hathaway, a freshman, he plays second base for us. He hit a 2-out, 2-run double there in the bottom of the 6th to tie it up. That was pretty clutch for the freshman. And we've got 2 young guys, a freshman, Zach Flitcraft, and Brooks Skipper's a sophomore. They hit at the top of our lineup, and they kind of get us going. So they've had good years. And Trey Power started the game. He had a little rough start, but he steadied the ship. He hung us in there, got 4 innings, and we were able to keep the score right there. So. Our catcher, as a matter of fact, threw 2 guys out on the bases last night, Andrew Shingler, so he's a junior as well. So we're pretty young. We've got 2 seniors that start, Noah McClellan and Drew Jordan, and the rest is, juniors and 2 freshmen and a sophomore.
Coach, what are the rules of disengagement there at the high school baseball level?
What's that?
The rules of disengagement. Here in Major League Baseball now, they've got it to where you can only go over 3 times, and if you don't pick them off on that 3rd time, it's a ball. Yeah. I was being facetious.
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, we're pretty wide open. We can go over as much as we want.
I love it, man.
No pitch clock, but we try to work fast because I'll tell you, all the years I've been doing this, if your pitcher takes a lot of time, your infielders don't like it, your outfielders don't. They get on their heels, and the errors seem to follow. So we try to keep a pretty good pace of play. But we will do our moves, and we'll run pickoffs. We try to hold runners close, give our catchers as good a chance as possible, throw people out.
I love it. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line with the Bozeman Bucks baseball coach, Coach Jeff Patton. You mentioned Zach Flitcraft there, the freshman, and his numbers. I was checking out you guys' Max Preps page, and the numbers jump off the page. Talk about how special he's been for the Bucks baseball program as a freshman, among all of the other names that you had just mentioned.
Yeah, pretty impressive. I think he's got, I want to say 11 doubles and 4 triples, and he's hit a home run also, so he's got close to 15 extra base hits. He's just one of those special kids. He can run. He had an arm injury in the fall, so he hasn't played a position for us. He's been our DH all year, but he'd been one of our top pitchers, too. He's just that kind of kid. He can pretty much do it all. If you gave him a basketball or a surfboard, he'd probably be the best at that, too, so he's just one of those guys. But,
has he hit for the cycle?
What's that? No, well, not in the game, but he's just kind of throughout the year. He's probably leading us in extra base hits, leading us at hits, leading us in average. He's just one of those guys. And Lane Hathaway too. He's got pretty impressive numbers as a fresh shooter. Those guys, Lane, Zach, and Brooks, 2 freshmen and sophomore, like we talked about. They've really they've done a good job for us. They've been 3 of our better offensive players.
Yeah, when I saw that 423 batting average, I'm just like, wow.
And we've played some people. We've had a tough schedule. We've played pitching. We've seen mid to upper 80s guys probably 10 or 12 times this year. So, he's doing it against good competition.
And you look at his average, but then you look at your batting average as a team, hitting at 309, which is extremely impressive as a team. Well, what's been the key to success there?
We can run a little bit. So we've had some bunt singles, we've had some infield singles, which help us out. We've got good hitters too. Kyle Nichols is our hitting coach; he does a good job. And Alec Alienwine's a former player, college player, went to Gulf Coast, played at Valdosta, went to the University of Tampa. He's been back helping us, And we just kind of preach this. If we can keep putting it in play, we try to cut our strikeouts down, which we didn't do a great job of last night. We struck out 11 times, so so that was part of our struggles. But we try to limit our strikeouts best we can. We try to have good pitch selection. We try to know what our strengths are and swing at that. And the kids buy in, and the kids are talented. We're young, but they're pretty good.
All right, so right now it looks like you guys got Franklin County again next on Wednesday. How do you guys stay loose and stay ready, with a 5-day layoff like that?
Yeah, we're just going to work on, really, today we had a little light practice. We just got some ground balls and did some batting practice. And we'll pretty much, we'll work on some things that we feel like Franklin may try to do, just kind of sharp. We're just going to stay sharp, for the most part, the hay's in the barn. And we're going to just try to stay fresh and not be overworked. We're going to try to simulate what we think their pitching is going to look like as best we can. And, we've got Trey Power and Larry Street. We're going to throw them in some combination. I don't know which one's going to start and which one's going to finish, but we'll probably tag team those 2. And but no, we feel good. If we do what we do, well, and if we play well, if we can just get off to a good start. We've had rough starts for probably the last month, and then we've just had to play. We've played better late in games, but we'd like to get off to a better start if we can.
Absolutely. Hey, Coach, thanks so much for giving us some of your time, and good luck next Wednesday. We're definitely rooting for you.
Man, I appreciate it, fellas. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. That is Coach Jeff Patton. He's the head baseball coach out there at Bozeman for the Bozeman Bucks, and what a team they've got going. Hopefully they can keep on going. High school baseball in the district championship. South Walton beats West Florida 3-0. Wakulla beats Liberty 5-4. Paxton over Holmes 6-4. Pensacola Catholic takes down Mariana 8-2 is the game we just talked about. Bozeman beats Franklin 4-3. Chipley shuts out Contondale. That's Cottondale 2-0. And Leon with a very close score there against Mosley, but they get the win 7-4. Who's got the high school softball in their district championships?
All right, let's see. Walton loses a close one to North Bay Haven, 11-9. It got Sneeds taking down Alpha, 13-8. Niceville beats Crestview, 4-2. Liberty taking down Franklin, another close one, 5-3. Holmes beats Ponce de Leon, 8-2. And FSU High School gets shut out by Mariana, 1-0.
Yep, good stuff there. And then also a fella who just signed his letter of intent to the University of Florida on Wednesday. And they were talking about him today and yesterday on the Inside Drive, and the coach called in and everything. It was awesome. But he's an Arnold track and field star. Eddie Keprin started his running career when he was just a freshman coming into high school as a basketball and a baseball player. He's broken 2 school records over during his 4 years. When he was a sophomore, he broke the 800 meter. That event was set at, what does that mean?
2 minutes?
2 minutes. I never ran track and field, so I didn't know exactly what that meant, which he is now running at 1:52. Okay, I guess it's 52. Like the record. All right, yeah, I got you. He also broke the record for the 400 meter. So absolutely impressive stuff there from Eddie Keprin. Good stuff from all of our local athletes. All right, let's get into our Kentucky Derby winners, or we're making our own trifecta box here.
Okay.
And who would be? Do you have yours already ready to go, Caveman?
I mean, I could. I'm just being kind of like quirky here and just picking something. I'm not really trying to pick anything that's actually probably going to work. But I was thinking if I was going to pick 3, I'd pick Raise Cane. Sounded all right. Cyclone Mischief, and what was the third one? I'm sorry, these are front and back. I apologize. I'm looking around. Reincarnate.
Reincarnate. All right, good stuff there. For me, and I'll let Adam Goff finish up here. So for me, I'm going to have winning the race because he's got very, high or low odds. He's got the 5-1 odds here. He's in the best slot in the 5th slot. I'm going to go with Tappet Trice to be the winner. In second place, I'm going to go with the number 4 spot. How often does that happen that your 2 slots right next to each other end up winning? But this one I'm honestly picking just because of the name, Confidence Game. I love that, and he's going to have a lot of confidence. Now, I wish I was verifying this to have my final horse be number 2, but I'm going to put $2 on Raise Cane, no doubt, because also a great one. But I think my last one is going to be 12, the Angel of Empire.
All right, so I'm going with verifying the number 2 horse to win. Then I have Confidence Game to place. And then the morning line favorite right now is Forte at 13. I've got him to show. But I'm going to box those, so any way that those hit, I'm good.
Oh, so when you box them, you don't have to have them in 1, 2, 3.
No. So if you box them, if you had 2-4-13 like I'm going to have, if it comes in 13-2-4 or 13-4-2 or any of the combinations of those 3, you win your bet.
All right, man. Well, it was a heck of a show, heck of a week. Don't forget, we've got the Atlanta Braves coming up right after this next break. We're about done for the afternoon, but we've got a great pitching match up tonight. It's going to be Dean Kramer going with a 2-1 record, 6.67 ERA. He's given up 7 home runs, which is the thing you've got to watch for. Max Fried, 2-0, ERA of .45.
Stat of the day real quick. Today in history, 23 years ago, the third longest NHL game in history, was completed. It was Philadelphia versus Pittsburgh. Philadelphia won that game on an overtime goal in the 5th OT by Keith Primo. Crazy game. I stayed up till like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning to watch it. It's awesome.
That is great stuff. Love on this day. Also, guys, don't forget Coach James Hale Show is going to be live Monday at 7 a.m. Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey, Monday at 11 a.m. And we're back right here at 4 p.m. on Monday for Bone Crusher, Caveman Rick, Adam Goff. I'm David Hayes. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. Y'all have a great weekend. Be safe. Look twice. Save a life.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
You like boiled hot dogs?
Why not just throw it on the frying pan or in a toaster oven or something even,
You know the way boiled hot dogs look, though? All the grease or whatever it was.
Used to do weird stuff like
to
that.
the top.
Yeah.
My mom fed me boiled hot dogs and top ramen. I tell my mom, you should be thrown in jail for that. Come on, man.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings starting at 5.